Department of Justice may be taking steps to indict music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
Two sources close to the investigation tell us that a federal grand jury may soon hear from Diddy's accusers. Since November, Combs has been named in 8 civil lawsuits, 7 of them directly accusing him of sexual assault.
Combs lured Ms. Ventura into an ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle.
How many times did you personally witness him be violent towards women?
Around 4 or 5 times. I seen him inside the car, grab her up. I seen him smack her.
The woman claims the president of Combs' Bad Boy Records picked her up when she was just 17 years old and still in high school.
It's been reported that Diddy hired Ghislaine Maxwell's former attorney, Bobby Sternheim, to help fight against his sexual allegations case.
Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
Let's get into it. Hey everyone, summer is here with more social events, weddings, and nights out. Thanks to Honeylove, anyone can feel their best even when wearing less. Their revolutionary shapewear offers comfort and confidence without the squeeze. Their superpower short smooths, shapes, and lifts for a flawless silhouette that never rolls down. Treat yourself to the best shapewear and get 20% off at honeylove.com/Sloan. That's honeylove.com/Sloan, and don't forget to mention our show sent you. Hey everyone, it's Sloan here, and I've got to tell you about Shopify, the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're launching your online shop or hitting your millionth order, Shopify's got you covered. They help you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. Sign up right now for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Sloan. Grow your business no matter what stage you're in. That's shopify.com/Sloan. And enjoy this episode. Welcome back to the Let's Get Into It podcast. As we're all aware, there is a federal investigation into Diddy, and I thought it'd be a good time to go through every one of his victims who have come forward and the allegations they have made against him. I think it's clear that Diddy has reached his downfall, and we're going to uncover everything he's done wrong. It's a lot bigger than him, than the music industry, than so much more. And I think that we're uncovering some of the most evil aspects of Hollywood and elite people, and how they traffic people, and how they treat their loved ones. Let's go ahead and start off by talking about what Diddy has done to Cassie. On November 16th, 2023, Cassie filed a lawsuit against Diddy for the R word, trafficking, and for harming her. She filed this in the Federal District Court of Manhattan and accused Diddy of physically harming her throughout their 10-year-long relationship. Diddy had met Cassie in 2005 when she was just 19 years old. The following year, Cassie signed to Diddy's record label Bad Boy Records, where she released her first debut album. Their romantic relationship supposedly began in 2007. According to court documents from Cassie, Diddy began exhibiting signs of control and abuse. She claims that Diddy aggressively urged her to ingest a lot of different drugs and was frequently violent towards her through their relationship. The lawsuit also provides egregious and gruesome details on several incidents, like the one we got video of, where Diddy allegedly got physical and R-worded her. Through her lawyer, Cassie was quoted saying, "I'm finally ready to tell my story and speak on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationship." Here are some claims that Diddy R-worded Cassie in her own home after she tried to leave him, often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Cassie, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding, blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in Cassie, which would be about, I believe, Kid Cudi, forced Cassie to engage in inappropriate acts with male workers while policing himself, ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive who he learned was nearby, demanded that Cassie carried his gun in her purse to make her uncomfortable and to demonstrate how dangerous he is. He also introduced Cassie to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and drugs and required her to get illegal prescriptions through her doctor for his own addictions.
Alleging in the lawsuit filed Thursday that after the two met back in 2005, Combs lured Ms. Ventura into an ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle and into a romantic relationship with him, adding he used illegal substances and threats of violence to force Ms. Ventura into repeated unwanted sexual encounters with male sex workers. The lawsuit also claims that throughout their relationship, Mr. Combs was prone to uncontrollable rage and frequently beat Ms. Ventura savagely.
One day after Cassie bravely came forward with her lawsuit, there was a convenient settlement. On November 27th, 2023, Cassie and Diddy settled their lawsuit amicably. Now, I'm glad this didn't ultimately work in Diddy's favor because this story did not go away, but just one day after Cassie filed this lawsuit, they have settled, so he was going to pay her off with a big sum of money. Diddy made it very clear that when they settled, he was not admitting to wrongdoing and actually still stood by the fact that he said that these claims from Cassie were just a cash grab. Now, fast forward months later, Diddy is saying he's truly sorry for physically harming Cassie in a 2016 video. He had to issue a public apology after CNN published a video from hotel surveillance which showed Diddy getting really physical with Cassie. And of course, his apology is BS, especially because in the past he had publicly announced that he had not done anything wrong. So now that there's evidence, he's admitting to it, and I wonder how much more he has to admit to.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
Keep in mind, Diddy paid $50,000 to secure this footage and to hide it from ever getting out. You can see Cassie trying to escape their hotel room and walk to the elevators. Diddy has a towel around his waist and he grabs her by the back and throws her onto the ground while still having his towel around him. He's kicking her, he's stomping her, and I guess he retrieves her purse and suitcase from the floor and takes her back to the room. Cassie's seen slowly standing up as she gathers herself, and then I guess begins to shove her again before grabbing an object off of a coffee table, supposedly a glass vase, and chucking it at her. The LA County District Attorney's Office said that they were aware of this video circulating online, but again, even though it's difficult to watch, they can't do anything about it because it's been too long. I get so frustrated when talking about statute of limitations because it allows so many people to get away with their crimes. Even if there is video proof, there's no way that he could be held accountable, which I think is wrong. Cassie's attorney responded to Diddy's apology, saying that Diddy's most recent statement is more about himself than the many people he hurt. When Cassie and multiple other women came forward, he denied everything and suggested that his victims were trying to get a payday. He was only compelled to apologize once his repeated denials were proven false, shows his pathetic desperation, and no one will be swayed by his disingenuous words. Which is a pretty damn harsh statement from Cassie's lawyer. I mean, she picked the right person. Cassie said, "Thank you for all the love and support from my family, friends, strangers, and those I have not yet met. The outpouring of love has created a place for my younger self to settle and feel safe now, but this is only the beginning. Domestic violence is the issue. It broke me down to someone I never thought I'd become. With a lot of hard work, I am better today, but I'll always be recovering from my past." She says, "My only ask is that everyone open your hearts to believing victims the first time. It takes a lot of heart to tell the truth out of a situation that you are powerless in. I offer my hand to those that are still living in fear. Reach out to your people. Don't cut them off. No one should carry this weight alone." Even though Cassie's story may have somewhat been told, I think there's still a lot more for us to learn. But let's get into two more lawsuits, lawsuit number 2 and number 3. A second woman files a lawsuit on November 23rd, 2023 against Diddy, alleging that he had drugged and SA'd her. This lawsuit accuses Diddy of SA'ing a woman who was a former student at the Syracuse University by drugging her while out on a date in 1991. It also accuses him of filming the alleged incident, which is a theme in Cassie's case, and it makes me wonder if they are raiding his homes to get all of this lost footage. The lawsuit stated that the woman was in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. Here Here are some more details from the suit. After the woman ate with Diddy at a Harlem restaurant, they went to the studio where she couldn't get out of the car, which I'm guessing that maybe she was drugged at this point, so she couldn't even walk. He then relocated them to a place he was staying at to SA her. In the suit, it alleges that Diddy actually showed off this video he took of him harming this woman. A friend of the accuser claimed they saw the film days later with other men. So that's kind of an example of revenge PORN right there. A day after that, on November 24th, 2023, a third woman files an SA lawsuit against Diddy. Now, she's only identified as Jane Doe, and she alleges that she and a friend met Diddy and Aaron Hall at a New York event hosted by Uptown Records distributor. Quote, Diddy and Aaron were very flirtatious and handsy with Jane Doe and her friend, offering them drinks throughout the night. The two musicians then invited the women to Aaron Hall's apartment in New York. Quote, while at Aaron's apartment, Jane Doe was offered more drinks and was coerced into getting intimate with Diddy. They claim in a lawsuit that Diddy and Aaron took turns R-wording her and her friend. Quote, after Diddy finished doing his business, Jane Doe laid in bed, shocked and traumatized. As she was in the process of getting dressed, Aaron Hall barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced her to do it again. Following the encounter, the woman fled Aaron Hall's apartment. After speaking with her friend later, she was told that she was also forced to do it with Aaron and Diddy. Days after the incident, Diddy allegedly visited the home that she and her friend were staying at. He was irate and began assaulting and choking Jane Doe to the point that she passed out. Diddy was searching for Jane Doe's friend because he was worried that she would tell the girl he was with at the time that him and Aaron had done that to them. So he was trying to threaten and intimidate these women so they didn't report on what they had gone through. It didn't get around, and Diddy didn't get in trouble with his girlfriend. Now, there was an act passed in New York called the New York Adult Survivors Act, which actually gets rid of that statute of limitations, which is probably why these lawsuits are being filed, because now these women can actually go and seek justice. Now, some of these lawsuits aren't just about Diddy. Like I mentioned, Aaron Hall was mentioned, and actually one of Diddy's bodyguards was mentioned as well. On November 25th, 2023, Diddy's ex-security speaks out after being named in a lawsuit. Roger Bonds, who worked with Diddy a decade ago, was quoted saying, "I'm willing to tell the truth because for so many years I was quiet." Not only did Roger back Cassie's side of the story, but he also suggested he saved many other women from being harmed by Diddy. Now, Roger Bonds was ready to speak out, but the Cassie lawsuit wasn't just enough. But after this video came out, he was talking a lot more. Roger Bonds said that he saw the rapper get physical with Cassie and Kim Porter, saying that Diddy has a godlike syndrome. This is when he did an interview with Piers Morgan where he spoke about watching Diddy get physical with Cassie and Kim Porter 4 or 5 times, which, it's so sad that he witnessed that and didn't report it, and that he felt scared enough of Diddy that he couldn't. Roger said that Diddy's a king manipulator. He can manipulate anyone and anything. Money and power is what he's all about. He said that Kim Porter got to the point where she fought back because she realized how powerful she was.
He knew those cameras was there, but of course, as we heard, he came back to the hotel and he paid to get the footage, but didn't know, which Cassie said inside her complaint, that they gave her a copy of the footage also.
Roger said there was a dark side of him and he was trying to hide that, and that he wanted me to say it didn't exist. And I can't say that it didn't exist if it did exist. He added that he expects to hear more allegations against Diddy. Quote, I feel like there's going to be other people that come forward.
How many times did you personally witness him be violent towards women?
Around 4 or 5 times.
And was that all with Cassie, or was it Cassie and other women?
I seen him with Cassie, and I seen him with Kim Porter, his kid's mother.
We spoke about Kim Porter in our last episode and all the evidence that suggests that her death wasn't a natural occurrence, that Diddy had a part in it. And to hear that she was comfortable challenging him is pretty scary, because he likes to off people that try to challenge him.
What did you see him do with Kim Porter?
I seen him inside the car, grab her up. I seen him smack her, And one thing about Kim is Kim got to the point where she fought back, because she realized how powerful she was.
Let's move on to our 4th lawsuit, and this involves someone who's underage. December 6, 2023, Diddy was accused of R-wording a 17-year-old girl. Now, this would have happened back in 2003 when he was 34 years old. They claim that Diddy and 2 other men, including bad boy executive Harv, who I guess was working closely to Diddy, preyed on a vulnerable high school teenager. They claim the men allegedly engaged in a trafficking scheme that involved plying Jane Doe with alcohol and transporting her by private jet to New York City, where she was gang R-worded. Ugh. This stuff gets dark. It's a 14-page complaint where they don't list the woman's name, but she was in the 11th grade when she met one of these men who worked for Bad Boy Records. The 17-year-old claims that she was convinced to fly on a private jet to New Jersey, after which they would be driven to Diddy's house in New York. As the night went on, the 17-year-old became drunk to the point where she could not possibly have consented to getting intimate with anyone, much less someone twice her age. After the suit was filed, Diddy released a statement saying, "Let me be absolutely clear, I did not do any of those awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." Granted, this was before the Cassie video was released.
The woman claims the president of Combs Bad Boy Records picked her up when she was just 17 years old and still in high school. This was back in Michigan in 2003. She was flown in a private jet to New York and met with Combs during a recording session. The woman claims that Combs and others got her drunk and then took advantage of her before putting her on a plane back to Detroit.
Now, Diddy is a gross man, and he knows exactly who to hire to try to get this to go away. On February 15th, 2024, Diddy hires Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer for the 2003 R-word and trafficking case. Diddy hired Bobby Sternheim to act as his legal counsel in this lawsuit. Bobby is famous for defending Ghislaine Maxwell during her trafficking child and for helping out one of Osama bin Laden's aides. So she's definitely not someone I would want representing me, because she tends to represent the bad guy. It's almost like you're admitting guilt by hiring someone like this. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years, so she didn't do that great of a job, unless Diddy realizes his crimes are so bad that he would rather take 20 years than maybe the death sentence, which I don't think. Do they even do that anymore? Not, at least not in like California or New York, probably like maybe in the Midwest.
I'm not sure if this is a good choice or not, because we see where, you know, it landed Ghislaine, right? Let's say Ghislaine. She landed her 20 years in prison. Maybe this is just a strategy to minimize his sentence, or, you know, what could possibly happen to him. But in my opinion, Claudia, will it really matter? Because in public opinion, I think Diddy, people pretty much have made up their mind about Diddy.
Several of these lawsuits include women who are Jane Doe, so we don't actually know their name. And I don't know if this woman was doing it for protection. Probably she was, but the judge rules that she cannot remain anonymous. A federal judge ruled that this woman has to reveal her identity, which I think is also a move of probably Diddy's lawyers trying to put pressure on this woman and to scare her by revealing her to the world. The judge acknowledged that disclosing the accuser's identity could have a significant impact on her due to the graphic and disturbing allegations in this case, but said the woman had failed to prove that she could proceed anonymously. The woman's attorney included photos of the alleged victim's encounter with Diddy, which she claims support the allegations. In the photos, you could see that she is sitting on Diddy's lap, though the individual's face is blurred. So at least this shows that she has been in the presence of Diddy. Her attorney says that in the photos, you can see that she's not only met Diddy, but she was in the studio with him and sitting on his lap. In this report, they write, unlike many victims who have come forward after decades, Jane Doe can prove that she not only met Diddy on the night of question, but was in his studio in New York City with him on that night. Remember when viewing these that she was 17 years old at the time. Hey everyone, it's summer and that means there are more social events, weddings, and nights out. Today's sponsor, Honey Love, provides top tier shapewear that helps anyone feel their best even when wearing less. Their Superpower short is particularly impressive. It smooths, shapes, and lifts for a flawless silhouette. It's designed with flexible bonding so it never rolls down. Plus, it's breathable and comfortable, ideal for hot days. The Superpower short also features a cotton cassette, making it convenient for bathroom breaks without needing extra undies. Treat yourself to the best shapewear and get 20% off at honeylove.com/Sloan. That's honeylove.com/Sloan. After your purchase, tell them our show sent you. Shape your life with Honey Love. Are you looking for the perfect partner to help grow your business? That's you and Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business, from launching your online shop to your first real-life store, all the way to hitting 1 million orders. Shopify is there to help you grow. They help you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What's great about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, they give you everything you need to take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US and supports millions of entrepreneurs across 175 countries. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Sloan. Go to shopify.com/Sloan now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. That's shopify.com/Sloan. Enjoy this episode. Reports write that Rodney Jones, a former producer and videographer for Diddy, filed a $30 million lawsuit against him. He claims that he was essayed by Diddy on numerous occasions. Rodney goes by the name Lil Rod and claims that Diddy would grope him in his genital areas and on his behind. Rodney also claims that Diddy would have these parties that included alcohol laced with drugs and that there would be underage girls at these parties. Rodney also alleges that he was forced to drink shots of tequila laced with the drugs during a listening party in July 2023 at Diddy's home. Rodney claims that he woke up at 4 a.m. the next morning naked and with a sex worker sleeping next to him. Another troubling claim from Rodney is that the underage girls were brought to Diddy's home by Steve J and his son Justin Combs. They were then offered alcohol and who knows what next. Rodney claims that there was an incident where Diddy offered him money and threatened him with violence to solicit sex workers and perform sex acts to the pleasure of Diddy. So to force this man Rodney to hook up with people and to do it in front of Diddy and to do what Diddy says, which is something that Cassie also expressed that he made her do.
Essentially states that Diddy was grooming him for a homosexual relationship beginning in or around August of 22 when he recruited him to help work on his Love album, and that he was recruiting him for a homosexual relationship for both himself and he says Cuba Gooding Jr., and that members of his staff aided and abetted his attempts to recruit Mr. Jones into a homosexual relationship. So that Diddy showed him a video of Stevie J anally penetrating another male in an effort to say, basically, he alleges, look, everybody in the music industry is doing this. This is normal practice. Of course, the same type of allegations of drug use, providing sex workers and underage minors with laced drinks, etc.
Now, there were several key players that were exposed in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. Diddy's adult son, Justin Combs, who Rodney also claims was present during the 2022 shooting. Well, Rodney says that Justin would solicit sex workers for the crew around Diddy and participated in the freak-off group sex events. That's so weird that Diddy is doing all of these intimate, gross, nasty things with his son. It's like, son like father, father like son. And even though Justin's lawyer, they're denying this, he has his own lawsuits against him. Now, Christina Quorum is Diddy's chief of staff, who Rodney claims would get sex workers and would also instruct other people to lace champagne, tequila, and vodka bottles. He would be putting ecstasy in this so people would think that they're drinking, but in fact, they're having like Molly mixed with alcohol, which is a scary combination. Diddy required all employees from the butler to the chief of housekeepers to walk around with a pouch or fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, and other drugs. So Diddy clearly has a bunch of enablers around him, which is why he's able to continue this operation. Ethiopia is a former CEO of Motown Records, and they were mentioned in this lawsuit. Rodney claims that Ethiopia visited Diddy's homes during writing sessions and social gatherings. She had an obligation to ensure that sex workers and underage girls were not present and that Diddy was not spiking the alcohol with date-rape drugs. So even though there were a lot of enablers, there were people who were also aware and trying to slow down what was happening. Lucian Grange is the CEO of Universal Music Group, and they were also implicated because Rodney says that they attended several Love album listening parties at Diddy's home where some alleged misconduct took place. Steve J is a music producer and a longtime Bad Boy Entertainment affiliate who was also a part of Diddy's problem. Rodney claims that Diddy used the access to Steve J and his knowledge of Rodney's admiration of Steve J to groom and entice Rodney. Now, Steve J said these allegations are false, but Rodney has a lot of claims he's making here, and I don't think he would just make these up. Now, Young Miami is a part of the City Girls, and she was part of a group that were paid a monthly fee to work with Diddy as sex workers and receive payments through wire transfer. Rodney also claims that Young Miami's female cousin, unnamed in the suit, SA'd him at a party in 2022. Cuba Gooding Jr. is an actor who Rodney claims also made advances towards him, and Diddy had told him to do so. Someone who goes by G, a friend of Justin Combs, Diddy's son, says that they were shot at the Chalice Studios in 2022. Rodney claims that members of Diddy's crew were instructed to lie about the location of the shooting. Now, Fahim Muhammad is Diddy's head of security, who Rodney claims had the power to make people and problems disappear. He also served as the middleman between the LAPD and Diddy after the shooting. So this guy Fahim was part of the connection to the LAPD and part of the reason why Diddy was able to escape so many charges through the years. Robin Greenhill is someone we talked about before in relation to Britney Spears, and she was the person responsible for overseeing payments to sex workers. I actually did see a bunch of police officers outside of TriStar, which is where Robin Greenhill works, and it seems like they were raiding that building for documents in relation to Diddy, which is wild because TriStar sent me like 20 cease and desist letters. So screw them, and they're going to be screwed big time for everything they've done. Britney Spears, Diddy, and more to come. Now, on March 25th, 2024, Diddy's houses were raided by Homeland Security. We saw one in Miami and one in Los Angeles, and the raid was tied to various trafficking investigations. Diddy was not arrested, and his sons were placed in handcuffs, but they were not arrested as well. A day after the raid, Diddy's lawyers put out a statement. This unprecedented ambush, paired with an advanced coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Diddy and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. Again, I think this is before the video footage has been leaked, so at this point Diddy kind of felt like he could finesse his way with this narrative, kind of like that, you know, it's a witch hunt, they're just trying to come after me. Well, no, dude, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's plenty of fire in hell. Now let's move on to lawsuit 6, 7, and 8. On April 5th, 2024, Diddy was named as a defendant in a 2022 SA lawsuit against King Combs. Now, this is Diddy's son, Christian Combs, and there was a lawsuit that was filed because there was a party on a yacht in December 2022, and there were a lot of drugs and drug use, and one of these employees claimed that they were, assaulted by Christian Combs. Now, her name is Grace, and she claims she thought this trip was a wholesome family excursion, but there were tons of bottles laced with drugs, making it difficult to distinguish which alcohol bottles were laced or weren't laced. She claims that sex workers were sprawled out unconscious on the yacht, while Cassie's 2018 hit Me and You blared in the background. Ugh. Grace claims that she was pressured to take shots with Diddy's son, Christian. She claims that Christian insisted on sitting next to her and became aggressive when he wanted her to continue taking shots. She claims that Christian's aggressiveness turned physical, alleging that he violently grabbed her arm and forced her to take another shot, which she claimed tasted like it was spite. He was accused of touching her legs, breasts, anus, vagina, and he tried kissing her neck, face, and hands, getting all handsy with this employee who just wanted to do her job. Grace claims that she was 25 at the time of this assault, and that Lil Rodney Jr., who we just spoke about, was there and has audio recording of the incident. Grace attached a transcript of the audio recording, which purportedly paints Christian as blocking her from leaving his room. Grace claims that she pushed him away from her, but Christian instead took off his clothes, grabbed her arms, and tried to force her to perform orally on him. In the transcript, Christian, you can hear him say, yo, it's shot o'clock. Grace says, no, I'm not doing shots. Christian says, everybody, we gotta take a shot. And she's like, no. You can hear her saying no, that she doesn't want to do this. And she even asks him, are you drugging me? The lawsuit also includes photos of Grace's alleged injuries. She also claims that the family went on to retaliate against her by firing her in 2023. Grace claims she fell into a deep depression, developed an eating disorder, and suffers from anxiety and panic attacks, and also wanted to take her life at one point. Shortly after that lawsuit was filed, we got another lawsuit. On May 21st, 2024, Diddy was accused of drugging and harming a model in 2003. Now, her name is Crystal, and she claims that she feels morally obligated to speak up. She was actually the winner of an MTV reality show, so she was in the industry and aspiring to become a big model. and she thought that maybe Diddy would help her, but he really only hurt her. She was 22 when the alleged assault happened. She met Diddy at Men's Fashion Week, and they went to, I guess, a dinner, and he promised to help her career. Diddy invited her to his studio, where one of his associates offered her a joint and said, "You never had weed like this before." And that was true, because she went on to understand that Diddy had laced the joint with a narcotic or some type of intoxicating substance. Diddy pressured Crystal to smoke more and to drink alcohol, and she was severely intoxicated. Seeing that she was drunk, Diddy demanded her to follow him and led her into the bathroom, where he forced her to perform on him. Crystal says that she was dazed after the alleged incident, and in the bathroom she passed out. She woke up in a taxi and realized that she had been harmed by him. The suit also claims that she saved the clothes that she was wearing that night in a plastic bag. Crystal said that in the lawsuit after the incident that her modeling opportunities dried up, and she believes that Diddy blackballed her from the industry.
Crystal says she was introduced to Sean John founder Sean Combs in 2003 with the promise he could advance her modeling career. Instead, she claims he got her drunk and high with a joint that was laced with what she says was a narcotic or other intoxicating substance. Then he sexually assaulted her in a bathroom. Crystal claims that Combs later had her blackballed in the industry, and she even attempted suicide.
Crystal claims that she became severely depressed as she began to blame herself for the assault and for sabotaging her own career. She was fearful of retaliation from Diddy, so she just kind of disappeared and just had this demon haunting her the last 2 decades. Now, on May 24th, 2024, we learned that Diddy allegedly forced a student and Kim Porter to take ecstasy while during an assault. Now, April claims that she met Diddy in 1994 when she was a student at New York's Fashion Institute of Technology. April accuses Diddy of 4 instances of SA from the mid-1990s to the early 2000s. The suit accuses Diddy of battery, assault, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and violation of the victim's gender-motivated violence protection law. April had told Diddy that she wanted to work in the fashion industry, and Diddy promised to mentor her and to introduce her to important executives in the business. The lawsuit claims what Diddy displayed as kind gestures quickly manifested into aggressive, coercive, and abusive relationships based on sex. In 1994, April accuses Diddy of pressuring her to drink at a New York City bar, and then later in the hotel room, she was laid on the bed where Diddy forced himself on top of her. She said that she pleaded for Diddy to stop. She was nude, sore, and confused the next morning. During another incident, they were in a parking garage where he allegedly grabbed her and demanded her to perform orally on her. April was in shock, morally depleted, and embarrassed, and in physical agony because Diddy violently yanked her down to her knees by pulling her hair. On a night in 1996, Diddy allegedly forced April and one of his former girlfriends, Kim Porter, to take ecstasy at his apartment, after which he demanded the two have sex. After April opposed, Diddy threatened that he could make her lose her job. Diddy then touched himself while he watched Kim Porter and April go at it. Now, around 1998, April ended her relationship with Diddy, but between the end of 2000 through 2001, they met again, and Diddy violently grabbed April and forced himself onto her. As a result, April has suffered and continues to suffer harm, including physical injury, severe emotional distress, humiliation, and anxiety, according to this lawsuit. This lawsuit was filed by attorney Tyrone Blackburn, who's also representing Rodney Jones and Grace, that yacht employee. And now that there are so many lawsuits piling up, it seems like it's about to be a class action situation. CNN reported a federal grand jury may soon hear from Diddy's accusers. Federal investigators are preparing to bring accusers of Diddy to a grand jury. Possible witnesses have been notified by investigators that they could be brought in to testify in front of a federal grand jury in New York City. They would be bringing individuals who have filed civil lawsuits against Diddy to go and to make their case, because the government has a much bigger problem, and I think they're going to combine all of these other lawsuits we've gone through and really get him. One source said investigators are being thorough and taking their time to ensure an indictment, should there be one, is bulletproof. So this time Diddy's going down, and we've got the government resources and their attention and an entire team who's listening to every accuser and collecting all the evidence.
The Department of Justice may be taking steps to indict music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
2 sources close to the investigation tell us that a federal grand jury may soon hear from Diddy's accusers. Since November, Combs has been named in 8 civil lawsuits, 7 of them directly accusing him of sexual assault.
Now, those are some of the lawsuits we have, but there could be more going forward, especially because 50 Cent sells a Diddy documentary to Netflix after a bidding war. Now, 50 Cent wasn't trolling when he was talking about a Diddy documentary, which may feature new witnesses, new victims as well. So we might be seeing new people who have been, silent because they've been waiting for this TMZ documentary. We're told there was a massive bidding war over the documentary, which was produced by 50's production company. And it looks like Netflix was the big bidder, and it will be on their platform sooner than later. Now, I'll be looking out for that Diddy doc, and I know you guys will be too, and for any other people coming forward with their Diddy stories. And if I ever get an opportunity to speak to some of those victims, I would love to and hear their story and uplift them, because it's time for them to share what they had gone through, release those demons, heal with us, and build a community of survivors. It kind of feels like another wave of Me Too because of Diddy, but it's so nasty and unfortunate that I'm thankful that we as a society have the bandwidth to support these people and to hear them out and to reassure them, because we're not in the times where, these people should be able to even have the opportunity, the option to get away with behavior like this. So I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. I love you so much, and I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye, guys.